Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back. It is a beautiful bloody Wednesday, and yes, as you can tell, I have had a bit of a trim. This video is probably not going to get posted today, so it's not going to be Wednesday, but whatever day it is there for you right now, whilst you're listening to this, I hope you are having a bloody ripper day. What I wanted to have a yarn about today is reincarnation. So the concept of reincarnation, as most of us probably see it in the Western world, is most of us in the Western world probably think it's bullshit because of the religious views that we generally take, or even the scientific views that we generally take. Yet, it's not viable for us, apparently, according to the Christians and Catholics and whatever else. But it's okay for Jesus to do it. That man died and then rose from the dead. So, if it's good for one man, it's good for all of us. Let me tell you that right now. But don't go trying to kill yourself to see if you can come back to life at it and move a big stone out of your cave. Hot tip for the day. But in a lot more of the Eastern spiritualities, reincarnation is talked about a lot. And you know, that's you being reincarnated as another human, you being reincarnated as an animal, depending on which religion that you, or spirituality or philosophy that you follow. How you act in this world will reflect on how you get reincarnated in the next life. But I want to have a talk about the philosophical basis of reincarnation and the opportunity that it uniquely presents us in every single moment. I look at reincarnation as the death of you and the rebirth of you, but not in the literal sense. I do believe that we do get reincarnated because essentially we are all beings and all creatures. Once again, as I've said before, all time is happening all the time. So, but what I want to talk about, as I mentioned, is kookaburras are joining in this morning. What I wanted to talk about was the philosophical concept of your death and rebirth, and how at every single moment you have the opportunity to kill the old version of you and for your rebirth as a new you. So the personality that you have is not tied completely to you. You have the ability to redesign the person who you are. If there's a trait that you have that you really don't like, you can simply decide to cut that out, and it is as simple as a decision. It's not easy, and you may not necessarily do it instantly, but it is possible. Don't get me wrong. But you're not likely to do that because we create such an attachment to our past selves and who we think that we are, that it makes it very difficult for us to relinquish those personality traits and then become a new person. We can do this over time, and that's through repetition, and we're constantly changing, and you change every single day. You just don't really realize it because it's just such a minute change. It's so gradual that you don't create that resistance. Whereas if you were to fundamentally change who you were, then that's going to create a lot of resistance in you because you have an immune system, i.e. the ego, that is trying to protect you and who it thinks you are. Now the ego doesn't technically exist, but it's a nice way for us to describe particular things. But it is that immune system that is within you that is ultimately trying to protect you. Is it necessarily a good thing? Yes and no. But it is ultimately here to protect you. Does it in a shit way by bringing us down and giving us a narrative that isn't necessarily correct, but just admiring the beauty of a sunrise. But yeah, so it will stop you from making this personality change, because these are the walls that you have built for your own domain. This is the foundation that your domain is built upon. And the ego is the guard that is trying to protect that domain from being broken. And when you have that death and rebirth, the concept of changing your personality, then you are remodeling your domain. You're breaking down those walls, changing who you are. And that's where the ego steps in and say, hey, you're not allowed to do that. This is who we are. We cannot change. But then also the ego will stop us from doing it because of the way that we are perceived in this world. And it's incredibly challenging. A lot of who we are, or at least who we think we are, is based on what we think the perception of others is. There was a quote from a monk, and it goes, I am not who I think I am. I'm not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. So your perception or my perception of what your perception is of me actually affects me, and then that makes my character, that makes my personality. And when your personality is created for the perception of other people, or from the perception of other people, then that becomes a very dangerous thing. And then it becomes a hindrance for us as well, because then we become concerned about what other people think and how they perceive us. And ultimately, guess what? It doesn't fucking matter. But all that matters is your own perception of you. And your perception of you can be changed in every single moment. You can decide to be nicer to yourself. You can decide to be cruel to yourself. And we often do that more so than we really should. You can decide to be a happier person, and not a more generous person. All of these things are literally decisions that, quote unquote, make your personality. And those decisions can be made in every single moment. And then through repetition, that will become an unconscious decision and will become a part of the foundations and the walls of your domain. But anyhow, that is it for now. What are your thoughts on reincarnation, on death and rebirth? Do you think that we do die from this world and then come back? And do you get, if you're a bad person, do you come back as a worm or something gross? I don't know what you would deem as gross. I'll let that up to you. Or if you do really beautiful things in this world, then you can come back as maybe another human or a more majestic creature. Keen to hear your thoughts. Let me know. But I'm about to go upstairs, so I will sign off for now. I hope you guys have a marvelous day wherever you are. Don't forget that you are beautiful and you are majestic. But I'll catch you later. Catch you in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, turn on your bell notifications, because then you'll get alerted whenever I upload anything. But thank you for tuning in, and as always, much love and namaste.